Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new show. We are live on Nufctalktv. Welcome to the post-match reaction. We got Paul, of course, a regular.
Jim.
We got Gary. We got Jim from the Music City Magpies on the channel
Hey,
for the
how's
first
everyone
time.
doing?
What's up, man? What's up?
Yo,
Yeah,
What
we're
a
doing
game!
good.
What a game tonight! And of course, we got the mighty win in the chat. We hopefully we're gonna get more people coming on to discuss tonight's
I'm
game.
gonna go close up my bar tab. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go on, man. Make sure you pay your tab. Make sure you pay your tab, man. You know,
I'll
they
see you
don't give a.
tonight. Good to see you.
Anyways, folks, I mean, a good performance. Well, it certainly didn't start that way. The second half was a bit. It was better. But the first half, I mean, we listen. We come here to analyze the game. If you won sugarcoating, then this is probably not for you. But very happy that we won 5-1. We scored a lot of goals. To me, the second half was I'm going to mute Jim there for a second. The second half was unbelievable. Scoring 5 goals. Isak still cannot get a hat trick, unfortunately. But I'm sure someday will happen. Hopefully someday. But thank you, Andrew Bell. Andrew Bell, for becoming a member. I appreciate you, my brother. Hopefully to see you on the chat as well. Professional daddy. I'm not comfortable saying that, but professional daddy admirer. Officially relegator says, I don't know if you're a Blade or if you're a Newcastle fan or what's going on there, but yes, the Blades are officially relegated, and
Welcome anyway.
They'll come back, and hopefully they come back as soon as possible. But yeah, that's just the way it goes. Beat the Macums for us, please. That's as close as we're gonna get to them. But Jim, I'll mute you for a second because the background music is getting on, brother, if you don't mind. And then all right, so my assessment of the game, again, like I was saying, really bad. I just didn't understand. First 2 minutes of the game was just I didn't get the why we were just giving them the ball. Same thing with Crystal Palace. It was the same type of football. We were trying to play from the bottom and play from the back, and I didn't understand. At some point, you just gotta pass those long passes. We had a few opportunities where Isak could have scored maybe, and so we should have tried to keep doing that, but it wasn't a great performance as far as the first half is concerned. Now, to me, the second half, unlike the mighty win, I believe that we did pretty good to be able to, listen. We scored 5 goals, ladies and gents. I mean, we can't get over dramatic now. We can't. It was a good game. It could have been like Crystal Palace, but we decided to make a change in the second half. I'm glad that happened, and it ended up being it turned into a good performance because then you got Callum Wilson back on the pitch. He scores. You get him on the board, and that's really good for his morale. And you see Alex Murphy. I would have never thought we was going to see him this season because he never plays. So now we get to see him on the pitch. So it turned out to be positive at the end. Of course, winning 5-1 is certainly a positive. Paul, I don't know are you gonna stay for the whole stream or you got to go somewhere?
Let's go at 6.
Okay.
PM.
Well, whenever you need to go, man, no worries. But give me your assessment of the game, of course. So what do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, we said it in the preview that, for me, if you score early against this lot, their heads will go because this was make or break for them. And they played like it. They they did. They played like they were fighting for every ball. It was a team that knew that if they did something against us, you just never know, luck or whatever, you might get out of it. It's it's not impossible, but they fair play to them. They give their fans everything today. The score line is very generous on Newcastle. It was never a 5-1 game, but their defense is obviously poor when you get on them. So it's just kind of like a dodgy start from us. Sheffield with a more endeavour and a more bite, and then they get a goal in front, and that's the worst. It's the worst start for us. Getting a goal behind, they're gonna, they kept fighting. We looked a bit lost, giving the ball away easy, stupid mistakes, which kind of I think was a hangover from the Crystal Palace game. And then, funny enough, we had a bit of a break. One of the players, I can't remember who the player was. He was down. And obviously the dad's with Eddie. He had a bit of a, one of his usual sort of like what we doing sort of thing. And then we pretty much scored, I think, about a couple of minutes after that little talk. Really good ball from Murphy and Isaac scores. And then there wasn't really, we came back after that. We looked more confident, and then in the second half, it was much improved. For 25 minutes, we were all over them. It could have been, it could have been 7 or 8. We were missing and stuff. So Sheffield showed why they're bottom and why they're now relegated. And we showed in the second half why we're fighting for top 6 with Man United. So this is Newcastle United all over. We can't just play well. We have to put fans through heart attacks and then we start playing well. That's just what we do. So it's an ugly way to win, but I'll take that all day. It's a 5-1. So in the end, it was a comfortable afternoon. But we need to improve that first half going forward. Just need to bring that up, because Burnley, when we play Burnley, as we've seen today, they're giving us more of a game than Sheffield are. I'll tell you that right now.
Right. Well, welcome for the first time, Jim, from the Nashville Mags, Music City Magpies. I appreciate you coming on, man. And we're going to be seeing each other in a few weeks. A few weeks, because I'll be going to Nashville for Mother's Day, and we're going to be live streaming from the pub over there. It's going to be great. Get some of the fans over there, their opinion. But welcome, Jim, for the first time. And of course, what are your thoughts on the game, mate?
I mean, first 3 minutes, I got all of a sudden scared out of nowhere. I'll be honest, thought it was going to be another 8-0 slammer. And then you got that first 4 minutes in, and you're looking at something hard. And of course, the train is going by outside as soon as I leave the pub. So I apologize for that noise. But no, second half looked strong. Kept going in. I was hoping for that Ezek trick. I was hoping to see him take that leading, going for the golden boot. But you still have a few more matches, so hopefully we see that come through at the end. I'd love to at least see him raise that trophy, so to speak, raise the boot.
Yeah. I think your mic is getting distorted, man. Just letting you know.
Like I said, there was a train just going by. So it was my pub. I left the pub for the music, and then, of course, the train decided to go by. So I apologize for that.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a train, but it was getting distorted. That maybe your mic or something. But it might be also that they're trying to compensate from the train noise. But no big deal, man. Gary, what are your thoughts on the game, man? It was beginning. It wasn't comfortable to watch, but ultimately it ended up.
You opened up by saying that we improved once the changes were made.
Well, hold on, man. Let me get to Gary, man.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said that, mate.
I think
that's okay.
Go on, Gary.
From my point of view, very, very dodgy start. As daft it looks, without Dan Burn, we could have been 3 down. And it's as simple as that, So from that aspect, against the worst team in the league by a country mile, that was scary. And again, I've got to this. We were talking before in the pre-match about coming and having that mentality to win the game from the start, not just turn up and think you've won the game. And I think the biggest problem we have with top out of the league versus bottom of the league, we've got this mentality shift at the moment where we're not firing on all cylinders. We're asking a lot of young Anderson to do it week in, week out. I think he's, like I said before, I think he's probably still half a season behind when it comes to the mental fatigue. And I know people often think about, you play football with your feet. But if you look at Bruno, and how Bruno is on the ball and he can pass the ball, he always looks as though he's got 3 or 4 yards around him. Now this doesn't come naturally, and players are often born with a little bit of grace. But when you're playing alongside young players, and this is why I keep arguing about Eddie Howe, is not seeing the youngsters as the get out of jail card. He wants to nurture them to a point where they will slot into a system. Trying to ask these lads to do it week in, week out, it's very difficult. So from my point of view, it's lovely to see the youngsters come on the park. There was some positives. Second half was a hell of a lot better than the first half. But was we better, or did Sheffield United just capitulate? Because like we said, at times it was like watching Sunday League football. It was a lot of, who for the twat. And it reminded me very much of the John Smith's advert. And I'm not promoting any beers here, but when it was, I can't think of his name now, the comedian who kicked the ball over the garden. Yeah, that's the one. And he said, "Go fetch that," type of thing. And it was, but it wasn't all bad. There was like I said, there was some nice stuff going in on there. But you can see against a better side, unless we, pull our socks up a little bit, it could be a struggle.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now Mighty win. Come on, man. As you're having your little tab there. Hopefully it's just a cigarette and nothing else to make you feel good. But what's going on, mate? What do you think? You're not so positive about this performance today.
I don't think I've ever felt as flat after a 5-1 win.
No, I agree with that. I do actually agree with that.
I don't think I've ever felt as flat because it's just masking.
Yeah,
five goals. But give me your assessment.
And you're saying he made changes that made the second half better. He didn't make the changes till we were 4-1 up. Ooh. We went 4-1 up on 61. He made the changes on 66. Apart from Kraft, who came on for the injured Schar. And the only thing was, it's exactly as Gary said. Sheffield just got worse.
Yeah.
In the first half, they were tackling. They were committed. They were putting under pressure, and that stopped. But we were still very, very lackluster. Our passing still wasn't good. There was too many balls given away again. It wasn't good, and the scoreline is going to make a lot of people think, "Oh, great, hey, 5-1, smash it, da-di-da-di-da." I don't feel the same as that. I'm sorry.
Okay. Moving on to Andy. Andy, what is your assessment of the match tonight?
I kind of agree with Winner. I think he's right. A 5-1 scoreline doesn't tell the full picture in the game. There's some games you win 3-1 and it wasn't really a 3-1. This wasn't a 5-1 in my opinion. We had one chance. We scored it because we've got a £62 million striker that we invest in, and but I think the thing that makes the game a little bit more of a 50-50 is the amount of balls we give away in midfield was just. Longstaff was at it. Bruno even was at it at times. Yes, his passes were a little bit more high risk. Even left back Lewis Hall a few times tried to play a ball inside and we'd get cut out and we'd get caught on the break. If it wasn't for Dan Burn the first half hour, we might have found ourselves 2 or 3 behind. Their keeper made a very good save from Lewis Hall. I think 5-1 flatters were a little bit, but we will. I totally agree with what someone said before. Southampton got worse. Sheffield got worse. They really did. Once we got 3-1 up, I think we had a chance with Longstaff in the box. If that goes in, I think we could have been looking at 8-1 again. I really do. But yeah, look, you can only beat what's in front of you, and it doesn't matter how you beat them as long as you get the 3 points. That is the main thing. There's been some young kids got a chance today. One's learned a valuable lesson. Don't dive in at the edge of the box. I originally thought it was penalty when I seen the replay when it went to VAR. I said the foul happens out as soon as that foot's clipped when the leg gets tangled. He's going down. It doesn't continue into the box, so it's not a penalty. I hats off the referee for actually, sticking with his decision. How often have we not seen that this season?
Yeah.
And I did say 4-1 with a VAR decision. I wish I'd put a bloody bet on that, by the way. But I agree with Win. I think it's a a little bit of a flattery win.
Well, you and Win is you're the younger version of Win, so that there you go.
I hope I didn't look like that when I'm 52.
Bruno, you mentioned Bruno trying the Hollywood passes and all. Bruno is trying everything because he's having to compensate
Yeah, he's pushing the issue, isn't he?
Mediocrity all around him, so he's having to take the game by the scruff of the neck himself, and obviously not everything's going to come off, and it's going to make him look bad.
Yeah.
But
we did see 2 bad chances from him giving the ball away in our own half as well. He was just trying little flicks at times. There was one where I think Holgate got a chance straight afterwards, and there was another one where a lad had a shot and he scuffed it wide. But that's 2 that I remember. I guarantee there'll probably be a couple more if you watch the game back. But he's pushing the issue, isn't he? He knows he's the guy that we're dependent on to create things, so he's trying. You can't knock a guy for trying.
One game that was massive was the Man U game against Burnley. We thought they were gonna essentially win against them, but no, it was a draw. Now they had a point, but if they would have lost, essentially we would have been 6 right now. But regardless, we're right there in the fight.
Goldbridge moaning on apparently as they were robbed of a penalty, and the amount of penalties that Man United have won in their history that were absolute bollocks. Some of them being against us.
And penalties that weren't given against them.
Yeah.
And Lorna Wolves brings
to
mind.
Even my wife, who's a Man United supporter, looked at me and she went, "Oh my God, it's 1-1." And I went, "A penalty for Burnley? What? Against Man United?" I mean, I'm putting that on the calendar and I'll wait until I hear it again. I bet you it's a couple of calendar years before I hear that again.
You're gonna be Mighty Wins age when you get when you hear another, and that's a very long time, man. But I mean, anybody? What do you guys think about the lineup? I mean, did it work? Did it?
No.
But it's to a certain extent, though. I don't think that today and last week, or not last week, but Wednesday, was about the lineup. I just feel like it was the direction of trying to play from the back. It just wasn't working in the first half. And it's clear, you can see clearly that it is an instruction, because even when they don't have to, they're trying to play from the back, and it's a double-edged sword. It can be sometimes. In Sheffield,
it's that, Chris.
Yeah.
It's just it's not even that. It's how we're so slow at times. We're walking the ball. It's like old age pension like football. It's just it's so slow.
And that's why.
Yeah, and we get to the box, and then we pass it to the side, and he passes it back, and he passes it there, and he passes it there, and it's just this, and then Sheffield got time, or any team we played this season, they have time to get their shape, because we're too lethargic before we go to try and get a ball in or whatever, or try for try for a shot, because hardly any of our lot try for shots anymore.
Right.
And that's what we're screaming out today, because again, it's just like you play, like you said already, like playing out the back, but then it's slow. Then you pass it to a Sheffield player, or last week, the other day it was Crystal Palace players. We just kept passing it to them, and we're in the worst enemies at times. We're not Man City. We're not Man City.
The biggest problem you get the 5 in the middle of the park as opposition that will block most of the channels. So you end up doing these tippy tappy 5-6 yard balls. You're always going to have 2 bodies around you. So why did we just go? Okay, let's just miss that out altogether, and squeeze the back line and go man to man. Put 3 players on the back line on their defense.
Yeah, you're totally right.
Change the shape of their midfield, and it's basics like that. And the one thing I keep saying about, I don't knock Eddie Howe. But sometimes I'm more worried about, the great managers out there of my past anyway, would never, ever change their methods to suit the opposition. They would make the opposition change to them. And I don't think Eddie Howe does that enough for us. I know he's been restricted by the amount of quality that we've got on the park, and you can only put out the team that you think can cope with what's in front of you. And you can only play the 11 guys that's in front of you. And that's no disrespect to Sheffield United. But trust me, they will struggle. That side would struggle in the Championship next year. They will get nowhere near the playoffs unless they bring players in. That is
the confidence-wise at the back four. I totally agree with you.
Jim, did you have something to say?
Yeah, no, I was just thinking when we're talking about the first half worth of passes, it reminded me of Wednesday against Palace. It was a lot of sloppy passes and just giving it away in the first half. I don't know
losing you
what
there, man.
changed. I don't know what changed in the second, but like maybe it was just the talk at halftime. But it felt a lot more crisper of passing and felt more like deliberate passing and not just hoping for the best that we saw in that first half. The first half, it was a lot of giveaways and it was a lot of looked like potential that was just like give it to the opposite team.
Yeah.
We've depended on individual quality today, in my opinion, because I agree with what Jim's just said there. The ball was a little bit braver in the second half, but a lot of the time it was because the first touch from someone like an Isaac or a Gordon when they received it, they've turned the player. If they miscontrol that ball, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I agree with you there. They were a little bit braver. But I just don't think without the likes of Tonali and Joe Linton in that midfield, if you miscontrol that ball and you get caught, we do not have the legs in midfield to get back. Bruno, as much as a brilliant player he is, he's not the athletic type to get back against someone like an Eze. If Eze gets the wrong side of him, which we've seen, he's gone. Cameron Archer did it a couple of times today where Bruno either needed to get in the way of his run or force him another way, and he couldn't get there in time, and he managed to get past him, and we were in trouble. So we need that athleticism in midfield if we're going to play them passes that you're saying, because if you don't control the ball properly, you're putting yourself into trouble.
What I can't figure out is when every single game when they do the pre-kickoff routines, they have these circles of 8 and it's one touch passing all the time. One touch, one touch, one touch. And they do it great. Why is there no one touch movement in the 90 minutes?
They're too far back.
Pressure, isn't it? It's totally different.
Brighton do it all the time. Luton do it all the time. Even Burnley to a degree do it. But we seem to, they get the ball and they want to turn a couple of touches, have a look around. I forget who it was that said that a great player knows what he's going to do with the ball before he gets it. If I get the ball now, I know exactly what I'm going to do with it. And our players just don't seem to have that in their locker.
I ask you, Mighty Win, you watch that drill. Do you not wish that sometimes every time they get 3 successful passes without losing the ball, they have to move back a couple of steps? And then the next time, move back a couple of steps? Because in our team, that's great. We know that they can do it, but we always are a little bit further apart than 5 yards or 3 yards.
Yeah.
Most of our players built on, we get out and then we play a ball which is 16, 17 yards and then we break on a team and then that's where everything happens. So surely if you're good at keeping the ball that tight, practice how to get out quicker. So move back and then still have to play the same passes, because if there's 2, 3 in the circle, it's harder to play them passes. So you're going to have to find different ways to get out. I don't know whether we just see what they want us to see sometimes, if you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean, and it's a valid point, because they do tend to keep with a 12, 15 yard circle, and if that was getting bigger, then
you've got to practice playing that extra.
First time passes would be more hard to do. Good point.
I'll tell you what, big up to War Flags. Their display for Bruno was phenomenal. I've just seen.
Brilliant.
It was amazing, wasn't it?
How do you keep doing it? It must cost a fortune.
So all donations.
Yeah.
I've donated a couple of times.
If you don't donate War Flags, just give them a couple of quid a month.
Yeah.
Ryan from War Flag says that some of their tifos are like 40,000 quid. So you gotta give them the donations, even if you're buying the mini flags for like 20 pounds each from them. You're getting a little bit out of it. You're getting a flag, you get something to hang up, but you're really contributing to them, which is more than any other team really provides to their equivalent of War Flags.
Yeah. Spot on.
Do you know what would be great? I'm just thinking out loud here. Wouldn't it be great if the club and War Flags got an association where War Flags sponsored them and they got like 10 pence from every shirt?
Yeah.
Even 10 pence from every shirt. What a statement that would be from the club to go, we're such in support of this. Let's give 10 pence for every shirt or every, I don't know, pair of shorts or whatever. It's nothing.
Why not just pay for them?
Well, the club.
No, but I think it just shows it's a little bit more getting involved, isn't it? Rather than just giving the money and not being associated with them. If you're associated with them and War Flags had something on my shirt, I'm sure not many fans would disagree with not having, even if it's tiny on the shoulder, War Flags or something, you know. I think because the work they do is, I mean, a lot of them have got full-time jobs and it spend hours. I've heard a guy, he said he helped them out once in a while, like 9 hours, getting one for, I think it was
I
when
helped them while we were there.
Yeah,
I helped them while we were there.
Well done.
The club's at least nice to give them some donation lockers inside of St. James so they have a lot of storage space. And last year during the FA Cup, the club did give them a lot of money to help put in that Wembley support that they put in. So the club does help them where they can, but it is really more on us to help War Flags than anybody else.
Yeah. No, great. It's a fans thing. We've got to be the first to contribute.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about the players. So they go player by player, the player scores.
We've got the King of Qatar in there.
Oh yeah, King of Qatar is right here. Yeah, what's up, man? You still driving? Yeah, well that's what he
all of a sudden.
That's his signal. Man, we don't hear nothing you're saying, man. Your signal is wait until you get to the house. Yeah, Roy's not. Roy, you there? Nothing.
It's turned into ET.
Star Wars.
Greetings.
You know, you were getting back there, Jim, when you were saying that the fans are, you know, it's a fan-run thing. The first thing I think of is, if it's, you know, it is the fans that do it, but what more to encourage the fans to buy a shirt and know that the more money that you're selling the shirts, more War Flags can do. Because, I mean, you look at Borussia Dortmund and clubs like that, it must be a nightmare for European teams not going back there. The atmosphere, when I watch the Bundesliga, sometimes there's not very many clubs like that around Europe, but they're definitely one of them, like us, I think. You know, and I believe that Borussia Dortmund have something in place where the club's funds help that. So officially, though, not just, all right, well, you know, we want to do something for Bruno Guimaraes, we want to do something for Botman, we'll dip in. I think you know, if the club can get an agreement with them, even 1%, God Almighty, the money at the end of the year, the lads might even be able to get paid for doing it, even if it's just £5 an hour. You know what I mean? Give up the time.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
as long as it doesn't start to feel corporate and forced. You know, because if the club's paying for it, then it could just feel like it's like an obligation and not like a truly eventful meaning. Like my first match ever at St. James was that 2-0 win over Arsenal, and they did that big blue star. And everybody before PSG said that was the best atmosphere that they've ever seen at St. James, and that was my first experience being there.
Hello. Lucky boy.
Yeah.
So if it starts feeling like forced and corporate and it's an obligation more than a event, you're gonna lose the meaning that comes behind War Flags.
Yeah.
All right, Roy, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey,
So what you got
I'm
to
here.
say,
Can
man?
you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Fucking Dan Burn, fucking legend.
Yeah.
Fuck, he kept us in the game today.
He did.
He should never play. He should never play on the left again.
Exactly.
He's a centre back legend, absolute legend, man. He fucking kept us in the game. I was thinking, what the fuck is happening here?
You wanted him out the door 3 months ago.
I wanted him out. I don't want him to play on the left. Oh, fuck, what a legend, man. Tell you what, who got the right result, huh? Fucking
hey, hold on, Roy.
5-1, baby.
I'm sure you pinched that off me, man.
Yeah, I had 3-0 and I changed it in the last moment.
Yeah,
and then there you go.
You hairy bastard. That's all I'm going to say.
We're gonna be doing our
Thing is, it could have been
update.
6, could have been 7.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah.
It could have been, couldn't it? I mean, let's be honest. If Longstaff takes one of them early on, yeah.
Oh fuck! Don't remind me of him. Was he on the pitch like?
Good question.
Apparently, he was
hell.
polishing somebody's boots.
Unfortunately, you couldn't ignore he was.
Yeah.
He had one
yeah,
good. He switched the ball once from the right to the left. All I can remember.
But two or three.
I did once in 1998 as well, but I'm not getting paid 40 grand a week for it.
I know.
Two or three positive contributions in 90 minutes is not good enough.
Hey, somebody's telling me that on the private chat on my WhatsApp that Roy sounds like King Julian from the Madagascar.
I like the move it.
Move it.
Physically fit. I love it.
Is that gonna be the new-
I like the move it.
Hang on. Only country music allowed when Jim's
You've got to
on.
give it the chin as well, Howie.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, folks, let's get to the player scores. That takes a
All right,
minute.
let's do the scores.
So we got a few, and remember, we got to count first half and second half. Can't always end up with a second. Now, shout out to Harry. First time I'm seeing you, says just for sending them down. If you could lose 5-0 next week, that would be great. And who we playing next week?
Burnley.
So I guess he's a Burnley fan, Harry. Or,
And it's away, which we love away days. Newcastle do.
Hey, I was at Burnley when we sent them down, so
Yeah, there we go. Yep, it's got 3 got to go down, not just 1. So, all right, let's go. Let's get started. Martin Dubravka, good saves. That he, a few good saves, few counterattacks the Sheffield
What's
had.
this all about, Chris? What's this all about? All these X's. What's going on here?
Yeah, man, what's going on? What are you talking to my wife like
What's
that?
going on
Man?
here?
What's wrong? What's wrong with you?
Yeah,
Put
you
X's,
just-
Betsy,
you just
baby,
get on the
X's to my wife, you old decrepit perv. Stop talking to my wife. She don't want you, man. Anyways, go get stuff your neighbor, man. Go and stuff your neighbor. Like
Win still got it, has he?
Dirty
He still
bastard.
got it.
Yeah. You dirty bastard. Anyways, let's start. Martin Dubravka, good saves, but Paul, I guess you'll just do your scores until you got to go, mate. But
Yeah.
okay.
No, he was fine. He saved us a few times instead of Dan Burn. So that's what he was there for. He was trying to come out collect at times, which was fine. Some of his distribution was poor as well at times. But I can't be too hard on him. The goal was nothing to do with him. Some people on Twitter are just mad. It's as if they wanted to fail all the time. I'll moan on if it is his fault, but it wasn't his fault, the goal. So I'm not gonna be too hard on him on that. But I think 7 out of 10. I think it's fair for him.
There you go. Jim, what do you score Dubravka from 1 to 10?
I think 7's fair. I think that first one could have been preventable. I mean, it was within his reach. I mean, it kind of almost looked like it came off of him a little bit. His distribution's always. I'm not a big Martin fan overall, so I think 7's always going to be a good score for me from him.
There you go. All right, then we're gonna move on to Andrew. What do you think?
Agree with everything mentioned. I'll give him a 6. Only because I see nervousness from the defence because he doesn't come out and claim balls that Pope does. So it creates nervousness, and I think we've seen that for the first goal. I think he thinks Dan Burn's going to win that ball, so he doesn't come. Like the lad said before me, sorry, mate, I'm terrible with names. But you made the perfect point. He doesn't come, and Dan Burn's push down, which I don't think's a foul, but Nick Pope comes and claims that goal, in my opinion. So I'll give him a 6. But he did make look. There's nothing against Dubravka's shot saving ability. We know he's a good shot stopper, but it's what happens in the 6-yard box. You command the 6-yard box, you're a top goalkeeper. He's not a top goalkeeper.
Well, there we go. And he got nutmeg, didn't he? And by that header.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. When's the last time you're gonna see a nutmeg from a header? But look,
Loads.
I rate Dubravka. I think he's all right. You know, I don't think he's as bad as a goalkeeper. Just that's what we got, man. He's the second goalkeeper. Mighty Wayne wants him to play for the English squad, even though he's not even English. So you know, but listen, I think he's second to Pope, and that's that. Roy, what do you score, man?
3 good saves. The goal wasn't his fault, so same problem with commanding the box and a few issues, but I'll give him a 7. We won today, so yeah, give him a 7. Yeah.
All right. And what did you say this a few times in the pub?
Who's the twat?
I have. I especially in the first half.
Jesus Christ.
I think we're seeing that more at the edge of the box than anything, weren't we? Shoot, fucking shoot.
Oh yeah.
The amount of times I must have said shoot today, honestly.
Yeah,
especially when Fabian Schar was like he's done it again a few times today.
Oh yeah.
But
Fabian Schar, something's going on with Schar, man.
He's injured, isn't he?
Absolutely, he's definitely something wrong.
Another bloody injury.
Oh, he is now? Is he for real?
Well, that's what he came off an injury. So.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, that's true.
Must have been.
Well, but he was playing like that before he was hurt. So, but okay, moving on to Gary. What is your score on Martin Dubravka?
6. I think everybody said exactly what I thought. The only look, the way I look at Dubravka is positioning. He's always on the heel, and I know you said about like the nutmeg, and you won't see that very often. To be fair, if you've ever seen or spoke to a professional goalkeeper, the harder ball is between the legs, hit hard, because your stance is wide. Your stance is always just on shoulder wide because you've got to be on your toes. So when the ball is struck at you that quick, to try and bring your feet back together is so difficult because you're always expecting it in the corners to dive. So I don't blame him for the goal whatsoever. But I do agree with what Andy said before about sometimes his positioning does give our defenders a little bit more to think about. Let's put it that way, and it always makes us feel a little insecure.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Mighty Wayne, better than me, thank you.
Yeah. Mighty Wayne 8, comfortable 8. Comfortable 8.
Man,
did everything that was asked of him. If you're saying that the defence haven't got confidence in him, that's not his fault. That's their problem.
It is. It is a little bit.
I disagree.
It's a 2-inch street, man. A 2-inch street. I mean, a two.
The goalkeeper commands his defence, not the other way around.
Oh, there you go.
The defence never tells the goalkeeper where to stand.
No, and there's nothing wrong with his positioning. Nothing wrong with it at all. I did, when we did the West Ham game, I did a whole piece on that where people were complaining about his positioning, and I did it frame by frame where he was.
No.
He was given exactly right every single time.
Nothing to do with Dubravka,
all to do with other defensive mistakes.
It's just not a fallout. I just that win didn't haters. I'm just disagreeing.
No. Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Dubravka's bloody crap. Let's move on.
Yeah. All right. Next player in hand. Let me see. We got Fabian Schar. So again, he was subbed for being injured, but ultimately it wasn't a good game overall, was it, Paul?
No, I think he started injured, or had a head injury, or walked into the wall or something. I don't know what he was doing. He was really poor. He was poor for their goal. He was poor in general. He was poor just before the goal. He was messing around, passing it to himself, and went up for a corner, and just really poor from him. And I'm glad he got hooked off because Kraft looked much more confident than he did. So how can I don't even know what to give Fabian Schar. I might be harsh. When I'd rather not give a reference, and I say I won't give a reference because it was that bad. But I'll give him a 2 because I just don't think it was any good at all.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I love you, really. I do love you, but it was an awful game from me.
We're gonna pause here for a second. Welcome, Steve, Strasbourg Steve, to the show, man. Appreciate you coming back. Just give me your assessment of the match real quick, and then we'll go back to the player scores. What do you think about the game?
Bro, first half was an NBA game. Second half was a lot better. A lot better. I still felt Sheffield United, yeah, they got smacked up, but in the first half they gave it their all, really, and second half we just like broke the will from them, which is good to see. We're just relentless. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. I said a 4-2 win. I said a 4-2 win because I kind of knew it would be a bit back and forth, which is what that first half was. But shout out the guys. They just went out there and were like, we're winning this game and we're winning by a lot.
Yeah.
Schar getting injured, that's another, like, Jesus, it's crazy. We don't only one fit center back. I don't count Emil Kraft. They actually didn't do terrible, to be honest, but Alex Murphy making his debut as well. Love to see it. I thought it was a penalty personally, but it's here nor there really result wise. I kind of thought it was a pen low key, but yeah, man, happy. And Man United dropping points as well. That's cool. So yeah,
Yep.
happy days.
There we go. All right, Jim, what's your score on Fabian Schar, man?
Normally I'd always rate him. Today, I just felt like he was invisible. Like I couldn't tell you good or bad, so I'm just gonna put it as a straight 5.
There you go.
Like I can't say anything that he did good or bad. I just don't think that he was really involved before the injury either.
He's lucky to get a 5, I tell you that. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, moving on.
That's off of past just love for the man. You know what I mean?
I do love Fabian. I do too.
Yeah.
The mighty Wayne knows what you mean. He loves
the player as opposed to the player's performance there, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, going on to Andy. Well, you do the same thing with Byrne. You do the same thing with Dubravka. You do the same thing with all these people. So stop playing.
I mark them on that performance on the
Going
day.
on, Andy. Going on, man. What do you think about Schar?
Well, as much as I'm a fan of Fabian Schar, and so is my wife, I'll have people know as well. She's quite a fan of him as well. Steve knows this. Today, he seemed too interested in trying to dictate the play rather than just defend.
Yes.
In my opinion, he got caught too many times trying to get involved in what was going on going forward rather than just depending on his man, and he got caught out. But I will give him credit because he clearly needed to be brought off when he should have. When he was indicating to the bench that he was going to stay on, he played the first pass he played. He didn't make it because he couldn't kick the ball that hard. So for me, I'll give him a couple of marks for staying on. I'll give him a 4.
Nice.
But he was poor.
Yep.
Just quick request. The pictures has come out, and Trips is alive because he's in the picture. So Trips is there, and Murdad was in the picture as well. And I think I don't know if they're the ball boys or the kids of some of the Man United and Newcastle United squad, because there's a few kids in the front there, which is quite cool. Yeah, nice picture there. But yeah, Trippier is alive, so he's in the picture.
That's nice. We've heard that he's had issues, isn't it? Let's just hope that's nothing that we don't wish upon anybody. It's none of this rumours and all that, and it's not something that he needs to be there for his family, because if it is, my heart goes out to him.
Yeah, I just don't know what's going on there, so we guess you just have to see, and see what happens. All right, Roy, what do you think on Schar, mate?
Wasn't his great. I think there was something wrong with him when the game started. He didn't look sharp today at all, and there's few long balls that they played, and he just couldn't run. So I think it might be a muscle injury or something. So anyway,
but
stray passing as well. There was some stray passing, and he wasn't in the game really. I'll give him a 3. He hasn't been himself for the last few games anyway.
I hear some honking, so but not Rick. But I mean, to be fair though, I mean, listen, man, Schar hasn't been playing good since Arsenal, Chelsea, against Blackburn away in the FA Cup. So he's got good appearances here and there, but so listen, man, I don't think he's
solid 3 though. Solid 3 today.
Yeah.
Let's hope there's nothing wrong with him.
Yeah.
They're making me feel way too generous.
At 3. All right, Gary, go on, man.
Yes.
Hey, Steve, when you're ready to bounce, man, no worries, man.
Yeah.
Go on, Gary.
From what I saw, I'll give him a 4. If Archer was not a. If Archer was Anthony or Ferdinand I forgot his name now, Fernandes for Manchester United, where he put his leg out, where Archer went through, and Byrne put his big leg in the way and blocked it, which was one of Dan Byrne's, better sides. We could have had a penalty against us because he was so much on his heels.
Yeah.
And he's carried that through from the game against Crystal Palace because he's I know he was one of the guys that come out and held his hand up and said, listen, we played awful. So that's fair play to him. And that's the only reason I'm giving him a 4, because out of everybody else, I haven't seen anybody else actually do it. He's the only player. But actually on performance today, he didn't really deserve to stay on the park. And this is where we get a problem. Whether he's been pulling or whether he's got a strain or something, and he has an injury, a niggle of some description that stops him playing football. When you haven't got the players to actually change positions or anything like that, you're always going to have games like this. So from my point of view, it's a case of he gets a 4. He tried, it wasn't good enough. His balls, from my point of view, great players in the past, even if they can't put the ball 60 yards, they'll play simple. And the trouble is with the likes of Schar, he thinks he's a better player than he actually is. Sometimes you've just got to go back to basics to get the job done. And I think, if we hadn't have lost so many balls around the penalty area today, it would have been a lot more comfortable for the viewers.
Yeah, totally agree.
All right, and so
well summed up.
What was your score again on that one?
Sorry, mate, 4.
Yeah, there we go. Mighty Wayne, what do you think on Chef's performance?
Virtually verbatim what Gary's just said there. Yeah, give him a 4.
All right, cool.
He was poor.
Poor, as the old man says all the time. Steve?
Yeah, I'll go with a 2. I mean, it's no coincidence that it was like I said, it was a basketball game the first half, and then the second half, Emil Kraft, who's not a center back by any means. He can slot in against Sheffield United in this spot and look like an upgrade. In this circumstance, he looks like an upgrade. And yeah, clearly Schar was not he wasn't playing very good at all. It must be like an injury or something. So, but yeah, it was no coincidence that we looked a lot more defensive. There's still some moments here and there that Sheffield United kind of had little half opportunities and stuff. But yeah, not good at all. Give me a
Steve, do you agree? Sorry, Chris.
Yeah.
Do you agree? It's no coincidence that we're finding that we've got players that we've depended on through the season in poor form, just when we've got no players to challenge them.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. Like, we're working with bare ball. Everyone in the squad outside of Gillespie has played, I think.
Yeah.
I think I've gotten.
We're really stretched the centre back. We are really stretched.
Yeah, like Alex Murphy might be starting for us next game if something happens to Kraft or what. Like Alex Murphy. We'll talk about him later.
Sean needs to realise that if he picks up an injury and doesn't pick up form, we are in big trouble. Centre back.
100%.
Yeah. All right. Next player, Dan Byrne. Really good performance today. I would assume he saved us actually. So yeah. Center back again. So I listen. I think that he's critical at center back. Left back, I'm better than him at left back. To be honest. So Paul, what do you think?
Well, yeah. I mean, I know the obvious choice for man match would probably be Isak, but mine is Dan Byrne because he literally kept us in the game. I mean, especially in the first half, block on a lot. I know it wasn't a great finish, but he's still there to block it. He had some really good, interventions as well. He was covering bloody Schar's arse while he was on the bloody pitch. And he's just more commanding there. Like we've all said it a million times, I don't want to see Dan Byrne anywhere else but there. Yes. It's his natural position. He plays so much better there. And you notice it. You notice him as a player when he's there. For all the positives, not the negative. When he's on the left, that's when sometimes he can be okay, but you do notice more of his negative side of his game. So, please, Eddie, keep playing him where he's strongest. So it's an easy 9 out of 10 because he was man of the match. He's that close, but I think Dan Burn gets it.
Easy. All right, moving on, Jim.
So with Dan Burn, first of all, I would say, how many games did he play as left back last season when we finished top 4? So I can't take him away from there. But yeah, no, he's overall better, should be in the center. The amount of blocks there's a few good blocks that if he wasn't there, it would have been in, and it would have been a completely different scoreline at the end of the day. So I can't take anything away from him there. I definitely would agree with that statement. If Isak didn't score as many as he did, Dan Burn would be your man of the match today. But for a score for him, especially you guys are making me feel way too generous today. I'm just gonna leave my score blank. To be honest, I'm gonna let everybody else put theirs in, just because I'm gonna fucking rate him way too higher than anybody else.
Well, to be fair, I gave him a 9. So
go, man. No, it's your opinion. Nobody's
Make
going to question you.
Make your claim. Go for it.
Do your thing.
All
man.
right. All right, let's go. Honestly, just because there was a few, because I don't normally rate Martin, and if there was a few, if he didn't put in a few good slides in, it would have probably been a 4-3 match. So let's give him. I'll put a solid 8.
I mean he could be man of the match. So yeah. All right. Well, Andy, what is your thoughts on Dan Burn today?
Well, I'd like to start by saying I totally agree with Jim then in a sense. One thing I will say is, when we're looking at legendary centre backs, the good things that they do is they do exactly what Dan Burn did. We see highlights of them skidding across the line to save a goal, like we've seen today. For me, today, he was as good a centre back as a performance, what I want from a centre back, as we've seen in Newcastle shirt this season. If you exclude going forward, just defending, doing his job, doing what he's asked of. Now, I'm not trying to put him in that category, but he's done things today that better players have been celebrated for. We need to remember, like Jim just said there, if that ball goes in, that goal there, I think it was 1-1 at the time, or might have been 1-0 at the time. We might went 2-0 down. The game's a totally different game. He didn't just do that. He won many headers. Okay, possibly went down a little bit early for their first goal. A bit soft when you consider the size of him. But the guy just is comfortable at centre back. So as Sean said, and as Jim has also said, I also back up. Dan Burn can do a job at left back. But let's please hope that we get a player in our squad next season. That only means that happens when we're desperate, rather than when we have an option to have him at left back. Let's not have that option. Let's just use it as he can play left back if we're short at centre back, because he's been as impressive today as what Botman's been all season. Botman's a better player than him, let's be honest, coming out. But Burn today, for me, was 10 out of 10. I can't give him any more, because if his team concedes, we possibly lose that game.
Who's?
So, guys, I gotta go.
Oh, okay. There we go, Paul. I was like, who's Sean? He plays very well.
Sean.
See you, Paul.
See you again.